What's up, faithful? Welcome back to the Saloon presented by Cisco. I'm your 49ers team reporter, Briana Jeannel, sitting down with our digital editor, Brooke Evans, as we recap everything from the 2026 NFL Draft. Brooke,
yes.
I want to hear your thoughts coming out of this weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, we started with 6 picks, ended up with 8. How are you feeling?
I think all around it was a success. I mean, the two favorite words that are coming out of this draft are consensus and conviction. Trust the board mindset definitely continues, and I think that's awesome to see. The front office is so happy. We came out with a wide receiver, a running back, 2 D linemen, 2 O linemen, a linebacker, a cornerback, and a pick in the 2027 draft. So all good things to talk about. Another thing that I think I saw was we're always going to prioritize best player available, which is awesome to see. And I love that the consensus part about that is across everyone to that level. Everyone's in agreement on that. Another thing that I think I see is the athletic traits plus character is the priority. He could be the best one on the board, but he's got to do really well in those interviews. And John Lynch harped on how important those are. And so it was just really cool. The whole thing of seeing all the smiling faces, you got to speak with them. The whole weekend was a success for sure.
That's right. Day 3 was a crazy day for the 49ers because not only did we have our first pick come into the building to meet and greet all of the 49ers staff, we'll talk a little bit more about him in this podcast, but we also chatted with every single 4th and 5th round pick we had today. And then once it was all wrapped up, we got to hear from President of Football Operations John Lynch, head coach Kyle Shanahan, and also some of the scouting team. So I had conversations with a ton of people today. That's why I've got a ton of notes here. So if I'm looking down, I'm referencing them, making sure I hit all the points here. But yeah, so pretty much Shanahan hopes that all these draftees make the team. That's going to be really hard given the very successful free agency that the team had during the offseason, but that's still the hope that you have when you are making these calls to the draftees.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean that they can make the team perhaps in their second or third year after some development, but again, that's the hope for all the guys that make this team and the goal for these drafts.
Right.
Now, another point I do want to hit is that another move that impacted the roster during this draft was on day 2, the 49ers traded linebacker D. Winters to the Dallas Cowboys in exchange for pick number 152 that was then again dealt in another trade. But John Lynch really thanked D for his contributions to this team and this locker room. He had a huge and impactful season last year, and that goes completely noticed, and we give a ton of props for D for what he's done here at the organization. However, the Cowboys have been wanting him for quite a while. They were actually interested in D during that Osa Odigizua trade, and so they've had their eyes on D. Winters.
Yeah.
D. Winters is a Texas native, and so he goes back to his home state, and John Lynch said that there's a ton of opportunity out there for him. So it sounds a bit of a win-win for both the 49ers and the Cowboys. Brooke, what were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I fully agree with that. I think, John Lynch talking about how there is so much opportunity for him is only exciting things. So I think that was, it's always so tough to see people go, but it's almost like you want to see them be able to flourish, and hopefully this is going to be a great environment for him.
Exactly. So shout out D. Winters. Thank you for all you've done for us throughout the past few years. But let's just dive right into this 2026 49ers draft class. The first pick came in round 2 at pick number 33, wide receiver Dejon Stribling. Brooke, when you were reading up on him, because you had the first article out on 49ers.com about him, what did you learn about Dejon and what he brings to the 49ers organization?
Yeah, so a little overview on Stribling. He's an Ole Miss wide receiver. He actually has played in 5 college seasons, has seen 3 different programs between Washington State, Oklahoma State, and then Ole Miss. And he's a Hawaii native, so that's why we saw that selfie video we got on social media of him in his Hawaiian lei, and I think that was really cool to get a little bit of his personality, but really why the 49ers liked him. He's 6'2", 207 pounds and ran a 4.39 in the 40, which is a really rare combo for his size and the speed. So I think that immediately stood out to them. He's a complete receiver, so not just about speed. They really like that he's a strong route runner. He's physical after the catch when he's carrying the ball, and his blocking ability really stood out, not only to our front office, but other people talking about him. So I think that obviously made him someone that was intriguing as a wide receiver to pick. And they were talking about how he can kind of step into a Juwan Jennings style type of role. So I think those are all good things. And I think the biggest takeaway from this is, like I mentioned, this was a really coveted pick at 33, and they still took him, even though people were offering trades. So I think that just shows how much they believe in him and what they saw in the film. like Kyle Shanahan said, everything goes back to the film. Like John Lynch always says, everything goes back to the film. Some quotes they have on him as well. There's a lot to love on this kid, said Kyle Shanahan. He's big, he's strong, plays with tremendous physicality, legit speed, and to be that size running a 4.39, that shows on tape. We love the total package. So I think, when you look at our free agency and we have other wide receivers that we brought in, it's what characteristics can set this guy apart. And the fact that he has the physical and mental traits to be that full package is huge. What more did you get to learn about him?
That's right. From Hawaii to the Bay, he had a long journey here, but he was well rested. He slept on the plane, and I asked him how he was feeling, and it was just pure excitement from him and his family. But I'll rewind the tape a little bit to the day we actually picked him. Yeah. I spoke to John Lynch right after the pick, and John mentioned that he was a gold helmet guy, and that's the highest honor that the scouting team gives a prospect during the draft process. And they only had, it was in the teens, I want to say either 12 or maybe 16, but it was definitely in the teens of the number of gold helmet picks that they had in this year's draft. And for him to be available at number 33 and for them to pick him was an absolute touchdown for this front office. And so I was really excited to hear about his background in the scouting department. But I asked him because he mentioned that it felt surreal when he got the call and it didn't feel like reality. So I asked him, when did it hit and when did you feel that this moment is actually coming true and that you were actually going to be the 49ers' newest wide receiver? And he said it hit him on the plane.
Probably on that plane when he has a lot of time to think.
Exactly. When he was landing here in the Bay Area. So he, again, is a Hawaii native, and he mentioned that's the home of the faithful. A ton of people who live out in Hawaii are huge 49ers fans. And so he heard from his community, he heard from his family how amazing the 49ers organization is. And so he was hyped up from the moment he got the call. Another little tidbit I learned about him is that he actually trained with DK Metcalf, who is his friend from Ole Miss. They played at Ole Miss, not necessarily, I don't think, at the same time, but they both are Ole Miss alum. And so he trained with DK Metcalf, learned a ton from him about what it takes to be a receiver in the league. And then when he came into the building here, he actually ran into Fred Warner. And so not only does he already know what it takes to compete in this league, but he also knows what the brotherhood feels like in this locker room because he felt it immediately. He mentioned Fred Warner in my one-on-one with him that I sat down that will soon be out on the 49ers platforms. But it was really cool to see how everything is already coming into the fold for him. And again, you mentioned it on his scouting reports. He's got speed. He's got an insane catch radius. He's got the willingness to block, and he can do amazing things after the catch. Two of Kyle Shanahan's favorite things in a receiver. So I spoke to him right after he got the call. Let's take a look at it right here. And with the 49ers' first pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the 49ers have selected wide receiver Dejon Stribling. Dejon, how are you feeling right now? What's going through your mind after hearing your name called by the San Francisco 49ers?
So blessed, so excited to be here. I'm really grateful for this opportunity, and I'm just very excited.
Tell us where you are right now, who you're with, and how you're spending your draft day.
Yeah, back in Hawaii, at this beach house that we have, here with just close family, friends from high school, friends from growing up, so just a very chill vibe, be out here on the beach, just hanging out and just taking everything in.
Now, what's your message to the faithful as they are so excited to welcome you to the Bay?
Oh, I'm just so excited to come here and work and just for the opportunity and just contribute however I can and just help the team win,
Congratulations, Dejon. Enjoy the day.
Thank you. I appreciate you so much.
Now moving on to the third round, still in day 2, pick number 70, defensive lineman Romello Height. Brooke, when you were learning about his collegiate career, what really stuck out to you?
So 6 college seasons over 4 programs, Auburn, USC, Georgia Tech, and Texas Tech. So he ended at Texas Tech and had a breakout final year there. And that's really what sold them. He had 10 sacks and 11.5 tackles for loss. And his career totals had 111 tackles, 27 tackles for loss, and 16.5 sacks. So these are great numbers to put up. And then at the Combine, he ranked high amongst all the defensive ends. So really easy to stand out there. And really what is such a good thing about him is that he fits the 49ers D-line identity. He's got a high motor, extremely relentless player, and he's versatile. He's an edge rusher, can drop and be in a hybrid role. Something that Kyle Shanahan said about him is, quote unquote, the way he played, the style he played is exactly what we want. Very relentless. We have a playing with your hair on fire grade. And he was the top of it. So I think that's really cool to think about is when they're going through players, it's who's got their hair on fire, right? Who's that relentless, that guy that wants to bring the energy. And he was at the top of that list. So it was really cool to see them make that pick at number 70.
I also love hearing the titles of grades
Right?
that the front office gives
Hair
each of these
on
guys.
fire.
They've got a hair on fire grade. I remember there was also like a get off on the ball grade that we talked about last year, the gold helmet guys.
Right.
And then this year I was talking with John Lynch with guys that are eligible to have a pool party thrown for them, according to Raheem Morris. So this is just so fun just to hear the insights of what's happening over in
Right.
that war room. But what I really loved about talking to Romello is that he literally dreamt of this moment. And I'm not talking about making it to the NFL, but I'm talking about getting drafted here to the San Francisco 49ers in the Bay Area.
So cool.
He literally had a dream about this, and it was a dream come true. So it wasn't necessarily the San Francisco 49ers that he was dreaming of, but he had a dream of the colors red and gold. And he had a feeling over the course of a few weeks that it could be the Colts or it could be the 49ers. But once he had that dream, there was a little, fairy in his head or a special feeling in his heart that really got it going to teach him that the 49ers are going to be drafting him. And that dream did come true.
I love that.
And
So he's
again,
got, good instinct.
very good
So
instincts.
we love that.
The Holy Spirit was checking in on him. He got 10 sacks in 2025. And his thing about getting around big offensive linemen, because a lot of people were curious about his size, is that he quoted speed and playing chess when he's on that line of scrimmage. So he likes to get into an offensive tackle's mind, and that's how he makes his way into the pocket and attack that quarterback. So we don't have a one-on-one with him. He did speak to the media, but that's no problem because we will catch up with him during rookie minicamp. But I think I know why. He was pretty busy. He had a lot of fun at his draft party. We have a clip from it. Let's roll it right here.
49ers select Romello.
The pool parties are already getting started. Okay, let's move on to third round pick number 90, running back Kaelon Black. What did you learn about Black in his collegiate career as he makes his way to the San Francisco 49ers?
Yeah, so he also saw 6 seasons across Indiana and James Madison. He had over 2,000 career rushing yards. And really why the 49ers liked him, because he is such a classic Shanahan running back. He's tough, downhill, and a physical runner. We love all those things. And he's got a strong character. And just like I said earlier about this draft and the way that our 49ers front office drafts, is character is such a huge part of this. The interview process is such a huge part of this. And he just really clicked with us, especially Bobby Turner, the running backs coach, and connections with him are huge because he is known for building real relationships with his running backs. And just like Kaelon said, is that he loves Bobby, and Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch said that he is quote unquote Bobby T's type of guy, which I absolutely love. And JL actually got to meet with him at the Senior Bowl, and he said you can't help but love the kid and everything he stands for.
That's amazing. Yeah. With Kaelon, it was awesome. I talked to Kyle Shan about him after day 3, and he was also talked about during this media press conference once it was all wrapped up.
Yeah.
And Kyle said that this pick was very necessary because he's seen scenarios where a 6th running back is necessary. That didn't come true, thankfully, last season because Christian McCaffrey was at an all-time high and was doing amazing during the 2025 campaign. But we've run into situations where you do need that 6th back. That's not saying that he's going to be at the depth chart at number 6. We'll see how, the rest of the offseason plays out in training camp. But the bodies are absolutely needed at that position, which is something we'll be looking forward to tracking as we make our way to the start of the 2026 season. Again, true running back. I love his connection with Coach Bobby T, Bobby Turner.
Yeah.
Faithful, if you know Bobby T, you already know what his antics are like. He gives written tests to all of his running back room, and he makes them, do it with a number 2 pencil on paper, getting it done. I've talked to Kyle Juszczyk about it, even though he's a fullback, he's still in that running back room, and he goes, Bobby T is intense. You do not play with that
around.
guy. Exactly. And so it's really fun to see that Kaelon and Bobby T have gone on already. He actually mentioned Bobby T in my one-on-one with him. So let's take a look at it right here. Faithful, allow me to introduce the 49ers' newest running back, Kaelon Black. Kaelon, welcome to the team. How would you describe your running style to the faithful who are watching you right now?
Yes, just an aggressive running style. Attack always, but also being balanced, being able to catch the ball out the backfield, pass protect as well and run some routes. So I'm definitely just excited to really show what I could do.
What excites you about joining San Francisco's offense and learning from someone like Christian McCaffrey?
Man, it's just like the all-around aspect, learning from a coach like Bobby T, and then learning from Christian McCaffrey, one of the GOATs in the game, someone I've looked up to since the Stanford days. Like finally just being able to get to this level and also maintain it and become better is just something I'm looking forward to.
Finally, Kaelon, what does this moment mean to you personally, and who helped you get to this moment?
It means so much to me. I've been playing football since I was 4 years old, and I've always dreamt of having my name called on draft night. I honestly didn't know it was going to come this soon, but I'm like, God has my steps ordered. And, my parents, mom and dad, fiance, they've all helped me get to this point. And I just really thank God that I'm here right now.
Congratulations. We can't wait to welcome you to the Bay.
Thank you. I really do appreciate it.
We've made it now to the 4th round. Pick number 107, defensive lineman Grayson Halton.
Yes.
What did you learn about Grayson, and what do you love about Grayson?
Yeah, so he stayed with Oklahoma for all 4 years, and he was the 2025 team captain because he showed that. And he showed his leadership throughout his 4 years being there. He had 16.5 tackles for loss, 9.5 sacks. He had elite explosiveness for this position. He had a top vertical out of all the DTs at the combine. He hit 36.5 at the vertical at nearly 300 pounds, which is insane. And really why the 49ers in the front office really liked him is because he's a type of D lineman that the 49ers look for. He's got leadership, intangibles, and the burst and the explosiveness is something that they really look for. Something that Kyle Shanahan said is, quote unquote, extremely explosive. Boom, he's off the ball.
That's right. That get off speed is something that he highlighted not only with the coaching staff, but with me in the one-on-one, which we'll take a look at soon. But again, loving the fact that he's with team captain at Oklahoma and was there for his entire collegiate career.
Which is far for him because he's from San Diego.
Exactly.
So we're just bringing him back over to the West Coast.
Welcome back to California, Grayson.
Yeah.
But also, he's a versatile player. He knows both the interior and the edge of this D-line. And what I really like that he highlighted of him having a fast get-off speed is that defensive coach Chris Kaserik, he's big on that. That's the number one thing he looks for in his draft prospects. And so it's fun to hear how those connections are already forming before we actually get to see them in 49ers practice gear over at the SAP Performance Facility. So check out my one-on-one with Grayson. Faithful, I'm sitting down with your newest defensive lineman, Grayson Halton. Grayson, welcome to the 49ers. Tell me what this moment feels like.
Moment feels surreal. Growing up as a kid, you always watch the NFL draft, but people don't know the process, that goes in before the draft. So, just to hear my name getting called, a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication, a lot of consistency. So, I'm just at this point ready to get to work, but definitely, a kid-fulfilled dream.
Now tell me, what do you think is the first thing 49ers fans are going to notice about your game?
First thing that they're going to notice is me getting off that rock. That's my first quick steps, and, just enthusiastic how excited I am to play the game, after I make a play.
Now, tell me about the people who helped you in your journey to making it to the NFL. What would you say to them right now?
Yeah, I just tell them that I love them. Thank you for everything that you've done for me. Never giving up. My mom, my dad, my family around me, my brothers, sisters. It's took a village. So, just appreciate them, love them, taking care of me.
Awesome. Welcome to the 49ers family.
Thank you.
Sticking in the 4th round, pick number 127, offensive lineman Carver Willis.
Yes.
What do you know about Carver as he makes his way over to San Francisco?
Yeah, so Carver spent 6 years college career between Kansas State and Washington. So he's just recently coming out of UW. Starting tackle who helped cut sacks and boost the run game. He's kind of a multi-sport athlete. He actually has a cycling background.
Fun.
So, endurance, legs. We love to see that for an offensive lineman. But really why the 49ers liked him is his versatility. He's, a obviously proven tackle, but also is a great guard projection for him. He's smart, experienced, durable, and a quote that Kyle Shanahan said is, "We'll start him off on the inside, give him a chance to earn that spot." So that's super fun. And just a little fun nugget about him, he actually got into football because his sister played at O-line and linebacker. So kind of cool to see female kind of influence here. And I know he's got a big family and has a few other sisters as well.
Trench play runs in the family,
Yeah,
and
right?
his family is supporting him every single step of the way.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite moments during these draft calls I had with each guy as soon as they got off the real draft call with John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, is just getting to see the room that they're in when they get called, what the environment is like, who they're surrounded by. And he was surrounded by a ton of friends and family. When I was talking to him, this was a little bit off camera, we were just having a conversation. I go, okay, like, tell me what your experience was like being drafted and realizing your dream of making it to the NFL. And he goes, oh, it was amazing. My mom's actually sitting here right next to me. And he panned the camera over to them,
Oh, sweet.
and they were like, hi, we were just cheering. And so it was really fun to feel the energy that comes out of those rooms. But
Yeah.
we'll get to that clip very soon. But about Carver, he mentioned that Washington's offense was very similar to the 49ers. I asked him, okay, what similarities are there? Can you give me some details? And he goes, everything that the 49ers do, they really like him up in Seattle over at UW. So it's really cool to see how he could probably be a plug and play guy once we get into rookie minicamp, training camp, and work our way to the 2026 season. And he also had a ton of conversations and workouts with the offensive line coach, Chris Forrester. And so they've already built and established that relationship. And so hopefully that also comes into play as he's learning what it takes to make it to the next level and to play in the NFL. So as I mentioned, that one-on-one clip, here it goes. Now joining the 49ers offensive line faithful, please welcome Carver Willis. Carver, tell me what that phone call was like with the 49ers front office. What was your reaction? What was your family's reaction?
It was crazy. It was a big surprise. We're all just kind of sitting here. We're trying to, everyone's kind of on pins and needles, trying to, fill the time and distract yourself a little bit. And then the phone rings and everything kind of stops. So certainly a special moment and one I'm very grateful for. But I'm not sure I've quite come down off that high just yet.
Beautiful. What are some of the similarities between the Washington Huskies offense and the 49ers offense that you've learned?
Everything. We modeled pretty much everything off the Niners. We even watched their practice film to learn how to practice. We watched their walkthrough film to learn how to walk through. UW loves the 49ers. Anything the 49ers do is just about as good as gold up in Seattle. So yeah, it's awesome to have that carryover.
Now that you've been drafted, what's motivating you moving forward?
Just the ability to compete, everyone kind of talks about, where I'm moving on the O-line, where I'm going. So I'm excited to go in, learn a lot, and go compete at whatever position I'm at.
Congratulations and welcome to the family.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Bree.
Our last pick in the 4th round, pick number 139, cornerback Ephesians Prysock. Brooke, what did you learn about Prysock?
Yeah, so he's a 4-year player across Arizona and Washington. So another Husky coming out here. He's a 6'4", long corner with legit speed. He ran a 4.45, which is so crazy. I mean, we love to see corners, but it's really hard not to notice a 6'4" corner out here. He's got strong zone instincts and ball disruption. He got 7 pass breakups in 2025. And really why the 49ers liked him is not only because he's a 6'4" corner, but his coverage versatility and his ability to disrupt early on these plays. A quote that John Lynch said, "The length allows him a lot of different avenues to contribute a lot of versatility." So I think a common trend we can see here is the versatility factor between all of these draftees. And position flexibility is huge.
Another theme is consensus.
And consensus.
We heard from the scouts, actually, the 49ers scouting team, that he has great size, length, and he's a tough competitor, pretty much mirroring exactly what John Lynch said.
Yep.
So it was across the board. This is how they felt on Ephesians Prysock. Again, fast, physical, downfield defender. But what I really like getting to know about him is that he's a true California native, and he actually has ties with Diomedor Lenore. I think his brother played with Demo. I can find that connection again, but it's really cool to see how he's making his way back to California. Check out my one-on-one with him right here. Ephesians Prysock, welcome to the San Francisco 49ers. How are you feeling after hearing your name called?
It's just a blessing, man. I work so hard for moments like these, and this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So it's a blessing to be here with my family celebrating. Yeah.
You're a California native. How does it feel to come back to your home state? And what do you already know about the 49ers organization?
Man, it feels great. It's amazing. Just to hear my name called by the 49ers. I'm from Southern California. I don't have a favorite team, but a lot of my family's team is the 49ers. So it's great. Just a blessing. And what I know about the 49ers is they like long, fast corners that can do it all.
And that's you, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
Awesome to hear. Now, you also earned Washington's Defensive Skill Player of the Year award. Tell me, how do you define your style of play?
Like I said, a long, fast guy that's very versatile, physical and press man coverage, love to play zone, to get turnovers, to get a ball back to the QB.
Thank you so much, Ephesians. Can't wait to welcome you to the Bay.
Thank you.
Now moving on to the final round that the 49ers made selections in, and that's the 5th round. Pick number 154, linebacker Jaden Dugger. Brooke, what stands out about Jaden?
I mean, Jaden is a phenomenal player. I'm looking at his stats, but just a little background about him. He came from Georgetown and then to Louisiana. He was a former safety turned linebacker. And just in his 2025 season, he had 125 tackles, 13 tackles for loss, and 4 sacks. I had to double check on that when I was initially writing the article because I was like, oh, that was his overall stats, right? No, just his 2025 season, which is absolutely insane. So it's really hard not to like a guy like that with stats like that. But a few other reasons why they liked him. So he has a hybrid skill set, coverage and tackling. His size and length, he's 6'4" and has a 7-foot wingspan, which is wild. And he's got a huge developmental upside. So lots of things to like about him. But Bri, you got to talk to him one-on-one. What did you learn from him?
Yeah, one quick thing. I feel like Fred Warner knows a thing or two about moving from the backfield into linebacker. So we'll see how he can translate some of that experience over to Jaden. But one other piece that I liked is that Matt Barrows called it out and John Lynch picked up on it. Matt Barrows, he's a beat writer over here with the 49ers. But linebackers coach KJ Wright, he's also a Pro Bowl player, former Super Bowl champion. He has very similar measurables to Jaden, similar weight, similar height, similar wingspan. And so Lynch saw this and he called out KJ and said, hey, I think you're drafting yourself here. And so they put up their measurables in the war room and we're comparing KJ and Jaden and seeing what their similarities were like. So that was a fun tidbit to learn about Jaden. So let's check out the one-on-one I had with him right here. From Louisiana to the Bay faithful, please welcome linebacker Jaden Dugger. Jaden, how are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling blessed. I mean, I dreamed of this since I was a kid, so just finally being here in the situation, it doesn't feel real right now. So I'm trying to take it all in, but I'm extremely blessed.
You led your team with 125 tackles in the 2025 season. What are you most proud of from your collegiate career?
This is how I'm able to adapt to any situation I was put in. I mean, I went through a lot through my career, and then just being able to still perform and not make any excuses for myself is probably what I'm most proud of for myself.
And now you've made it to the league. What message do you have for all the 49ers fans watching you right now?
I'm just ready to come in and work and then help the team win whatever way I can, whether that's special teams, defense, whatever the coaches ask me to do, I'm willing to do it. So I'm excited.
Amazing. Congratulations, Jaden. Welcome to the family.
Thank you.
Now, the final pick of the 49ers 2026 NFL Draft, it came at pick number 179, offensive lineman Enrique Cruz Jr. He goes by Kiko. Brooke, what stands out about his career as he makes his way over to the 49ers?
Well, I love it. Kiko was a 5-year player from Syracuse and then ended his career in Kansas as a full-time starter. He earned all Big 12 honorable mention, and really why the 49ers liked him was because his length and power combo and basically his overall package was just really elite traits for an O-line offensive lineman. He has developmental tackle and guard flexibility. And at the NFL Combine, Cruz Jr. showcased his outstanding length, standing at 6'5" and 313 pounds. So he's got a really big NFL frame that we love. And John Lynch said this about him: it speaks to the type of athlete he is. We think he may have a guard flex. So we love to see that, a lot of traits. But what did you learn from him?
Yeah, the first thing he told his family when he realized that he was going over to San Francisco to play with the 49ers, he goes, Do y'all realize I'm going to learn from Trent Williams, a future Hall of Famer? That's the first thing he told his family about how excited he was to come to the 49ers. And yeah, I'm about to show the clip here about my one-on-one with him and a little bit of how excited he is to come play for the 49ers. But a little bit of context before we go into this video. We were chit-chatting before we were on the record. We talked a lot about his grandma, who he called his role model. She's a 2-time breast cancer survivor, and they have a really special connection. She's, again, one of the first people that he talked to right after getting the call, and he had a ton of family support. We bonded a ton over culture, as me being Nicaragüense and Mexican, and him being full Puerto Rican. He was so proud to have that Latino fan base and family over here in the Bay Area that can cheer him on during his rookie season. So check out my one-on-one with him right here. Now joining the San Francisco 49ers offensive line, this is Enrique Cruz Jr. Enrique, how are you spending your draft day?
I'm right here with all my family. We're at a restaurant right now. I got 100 family members celebrating with me, and it's just so amazing. I'm so happy to be here.
Amazing. Congratulations. Now, you've shared that your grandma is your biggest role model. How must she be feeling right now?
Me and my grandma, we just had a moment after the phone call. We were both crying, and we're just so happy. She's so happy for me right now.
I absolutely love to hear it. Now, your Familia Latina is here in the Bay Area. What message do you have for the Latino community and all the 49ers fans out here?
Let's do this. Let's go. Let's do this. I'm so happy to be in the Bay Area. Let's go. Love you guys. Let's get it.
Welcome to the 49ers family. Enjoy your day.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
What a fun list to run through. I mean, we got to learn a little bit of their background, a little of their stats, but we're only going to get to learn a little bit more come rookie minicamp. When they're all here, we get to actually speak to them, get more content with them, and get to learn more about them. But I think overall, really successful 2026 NFL draft.
All right, Faithful, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of The Saloon as we ran through every single pick made by the San Francisco 49ers in the 2026 NFL Draft. This was another successful draft in the books. So, Faithful, stay tuned, subscribe to The Saloon on YouTube, SiriusXM, and all your favorite podcast platforms because you don't want to miss a thing as we make our way to the 2026 season. That'll do it for today, and go Niners.